Hi everybody, this is Noelle from Petitti's, and we are actually going over our second part to lawn care, just general lawn care. And we're right around Memorial Day. We're actually filming this just before Memorial Day, but that's when you want to think about the lawn again. So we did our first part in spring, right after Easter, and now here we are, second part to get back out there and take care of the lawns. So the first thing I want to remind you is make sure that your mower deck at this time of year is high. We usually like to have the lawn cut about 3 inches, okay, tall. So the taller the grass here, the more it's able to squeeze and shade out the weeds in the lawn, but it also keeps your grass roots nice and cool, nice and moist. So that's one thing. So raise up your mower deck. If you haven't gotten it all the way up, go ahead and do that, okay? The other thing is keeping your blades sharp is really key. You want to sharpen your lawnmower blades after about 8 to 10 hours of actually mowing, okay? So keep an eye on that and just kind of track your mileage, if you will, on your lawnmower blade. Change it out when you're able to do that. Another thing that we look at this time is feeding your lawn. If you put a first step fertilizer down, it's usually you're applying your second step about 6 to 8 weeks after that. And you want to do it around Memorial Day. The reason being is going into the heat of summer, it's really good to take care of your lawn, feed your lawn, but also it's a great time to control some weeds in the lawn, okay? So normally your second step fertilizer is going to be what we call a weed and feed. So you have plenty of slow release fertilizer here, plenty of nitrogen to feed the lawn, but you also have that added granular weed killer. So this is a selective herbicide that will just take care of the broadleaf weeds in your lawn, okay? So we have step 2 from Scott's. This is a true weed and feed. And this fertilizer, this step, when you're applying a weed and feed, it's different from all the other lawn fertilizers, typical lawn fertilizers. The reason being is you want to apply this to a lawn that has dew or it has been watered, okay? You also want to apply it on a very calm day. You don't want it to be very windy when you apply this because you don't want it to go into your landscape beds or into waterways or what have you. So keep that in mind as well. And this is a fertilizer that you want to stay on those weeds, okay, for at least 24 hours. So no rain for 24 hours because you want that weed killer to stick right to the weed. The other thing that I mentioned too is that you really don't want to mow right before you apply this, because if you have the weeds in the lawn, you want the largest leaf surface area for this weed control to be on top of. So again, maybe 2 days before you apply this, again, a day with no rain for 24 hours, that's what you're really looking for. So this application is a little bit different from some of the other fertilizers out there for lawns, okay? So keep that in mind. That's basically what you need. Go ahead, make sure that you're keeping it out of your beds, as I mentioned before, and it's not blowing around, going into waterways, that type of thing. So just be careful when you apply, okay? So that's your fertilizer and your weed control. If you continue to have some pesky weeds or you need to spot spray around the lawn, no problem. Weed Beater Ultra is still a fantastic product. We recommend it in the spring because it controls at lower temperatures, but of course it's going to continue to control throughout the growing season. There's also an organic form of Weed Beater Ultra. This is actually Weed Beater FE, and so it uses iron to control and use as a spot weed killer. So you can try this as well. It is, again, lawn safe, no problem whatsoever. And then if you have some perennial weeds that are really, really pesky out there that you're having a problem with, maybe oxalis, just as an example, you can use Chickweed Clover and Oxalis Killer. This is kind of has a different mode of action, but again, it's still a selective weed control, safe for the lawns. And this one doesn't work as fast as your Weed Beater Ultra products, but it will work over a longer period of time. So just keep that in mind if you have more troublesome weed spots out there in the lawn. The other thing that we want to mention going into Memorial Day and into summer here is your grub control, okay? If you haven't put down GrubEx yet, you still can. So if you have issues with you're seeing mold tunnels and hills, you know that you had Japanese beetle problems in the past, you haven't treated for those grubs in the soil yet, do it now, okay? So you still have time to apply the GrubEx product. The other thing that I might want to mention here is going into the summer, we have a lot of problems with some ground insects, namely ants, fleas, and ticks in the lawn area. So if you want to control that as well, then you would apply this product. This is Ortho BugClear, and it is a granular insecticide. This is a different label. It used to have a red and white label, and it used to be Ortho Home Defense granules. So just look for this. If you used Home Defense in the past, this again is exactly the same product, same active ingredient there, but just different packaging. So look for this black package now when you come into the stores. But that is great if you're concerned about your fleas, your ticks, your ants in the garden. In the lawn, it does protect against numerous other insects too. So it has a very, very broad insect label on there as well. The last thing that I wanted to mention, again, going into summer, is we have to be very careful with the rain. So your watering of your lawn should always be in the morning. It should be a thorough watering once a week, 1 inch, okay? If you don't know how much rainfall you're getting, try a rain gauge. They're very, very helpful tools. And so you can, obviously, you can record your rainfall that you're receiving, and then you can just supplemental irrigate after that. So again, it's 1 inch of water per week, one time typically. So we want you to, really put the sprinkler out, thoroughly water the lawn. That's what it's looking for, okay? If it gets really hot, you might have to supplement a little bit more, but that's typically it. So make sure you're feeding, you're putting your weed control down or spot weeding. Make sure you have your insect control down, especially if you've had Japanese beetles before. GrubEx is really important. If you are concerned about fleas and ticks, definitely the Ortho BugClear, and then track your rainfall. Enjoy.